Obviously the hourly time frame is bullish, trading out of the hourly bullish gap, so the draw is higher to the next hourly high or bearish gap, which we have a bearish and a high on the hourly time frame created at this point. Okay, all right, 15-minute time frame. Let's have a look. So 15-minute to me as of now appears bullish, but we just need to confirm this. So it's not bearish because there's no bearish gaps that we're trading out of. It is bullish, yeah. So we're trading out of this bullish gap. 15-minute is drawing towards the next 15-minute swing high, which is minor buy side. Okay, so we have an 80% bullish bias as of now, and then we got the 5-minute. So the 5-minute as of now is bullish, so we're trading out of a 5-minute bullish gap. So we have 100% bullish bias for price to draw higher. So we'd like to see a sweeper sell side, taking out this high of minor buy side. Okay, this is going to flip the 15-minute to being neutral, as that's the 15-minute draw. So the 15 would go neutral, and also along with the 5. So taking minor buy side, we can just note on ES 5/15 neutral as a reminder. We'd still have a bullish bias regardless, but it would just mean that we have a sweep of buy side, right, with a bullish bias. It's not what we want to see. We want to see a sweep of London lows, okay, with our bias. So now on the 1-minute time frame, because the New York Open has already occurred, we're going to be looking at marking out the New York Open, which is there, which you can see. And on ES we have a bearish SMT on NQ at the New York Open high. So as of now, we're just looking for a clean sweep of sell side, and then after that, following a bullish bias, a shift in market structure, and then a draw on Asia and all-time highs. Hopefully that makes sense. Why are you looking for sell side when we already have one? What do you mean? We already have one. You saying that price is already, yes, so we've swept sell side, but since then we've accumulated. So I want to see price to manipulate and then distribute towards minor buy side. Since the New York Open, yes, we had essentially almost a Judas swing, but price failed to return to the open, and then we've accumulated around this period. So now I want to see manipulation for price below another point of sell side, okay, and then I want to see price distribute after that. So for example, to your question, is that if price shifted structure from this accumulation period, it'd likely be manipulation, not a shift in market structure. Okay, so that's why we're looking obviously for sweeper sell side, and then following a bullish bias, we'd happily then look for a shift higher. So what you can see now is a sweep of London lows, okay, which you can see there. So right now what we have is a bullish bias and a sweep of London lows, so a sweep of sell side, and now we want to see a shift in market structure higher. So if you update on the 5 and the 15-minute time frame, you can still see we're assuming that the 5-minute bullish gap originally is getting respected for another 2 minutes and 20 seconds. But we still have these 5-minute bullish gaps resting below anyway, which you can see here. So either way, the 5 is going to remain as bullish. The 15-minute is remaining as bullish, and all of the other higher time frames are still bullish. So the next time we actually look at our bias overall is 10 AM. That's when we will redo our bias. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Can you explain the 4 hour as it's in a Sibi? And yeah, So I don't know if you've just joined the stream, but we spoke about this around 10 minutes ago. So the 4-hour bias as of now is bullish, okay, because these two imbalances, they're not overlapping, so it doesn't cause the bias to be neutral. Okay, so if we look at the 4-hour bullish gap and the 4-hour bearish gap, they're not overlapping fair value gaps. So when price is more recently trading out of one or the other, that is what the bias would be. So for example, right now we're trading only out of the bullish gap. We traded out of the bearish gap, which would cause price to be bearish on the 4-hour, trades into the bullish gap, meets the draw, so it's bullish. Hopefully that clears your question. Now, for example, if we had this 4-hour bearish gap and a 4-hour bullish gap like this overlapping, then at all times inside of this window where they're both overlapping, it would be neutral. Alright, so we're looking for a lovely shift in market structure higher. The issue with this shift in market structure, because we have such a big bullish SMT at London lows for ES, is that for ES to shift structure from this point, it's actually going to take our draw. So then I won't be taking the trade. Right, so it'll be a sweep of buy side against and an SMT against the trade. So it's not actually possible that we even really get a trade here, because ES can't shift unless it shifts above this high, which would take the high. So yeah, of course, if ES creates a short-term high around this point and then shifts through there, it's definitely possible that we do get an opportunity for longs. Okay, so obviously we've just put in this newer short-term high for price, so we are looking for a lovely shift in market structure. Okay, an inverse, which currently stands as a bearish order block. So right now we're trading into a bearish order block, which is a bearish confluence for price to draw lower. So right now it's not obviously been inversed, so it's acting as a point for price to draw lower. If we do see that shift, then that would be exactly what we're looking for. Shift on ES above that high, be perfect. So obviously it's gone past 9:45. The 5-minute got inversed, took the low, neutralized, trading out of the bullish gap. It's bullish. The 15-minute would have closed at the 45. So you can see we would have inversed the bullish gap, bearish, took the low, neutralized. Either way, we're trading out of the bullish gap, so the draw would be bullish. Still remains as a 100% bullish bias. Okay, so now we have a bullish order block, as you can see there. It's now been put into price. This candle engulfed the previous down close candle. While the MNQ chart is way different to the NQ chart, yeah, you will find some slight differences, and sometimes there's actually an SMT between NQ and MNQ. I always advise to monitor the full NQ chart and have a spare monitor to execute the micros. So I trade majority of my accounts on the micros. The only account that I don't is obviously my live account, and then I trade US 100 on FTMO. But when it comes to prop firms, it's all on micros. Little tiny SMT. Could probably get ran through anyway. You can see ES is still reaching for London lows. So as of now, we got a bullish SMT on ES, but ES has just tapped and made equal and then taken it. Okay, so just swept that point sell side on ES as well, which is actually good to see, because for a shift in market structure on ES, I didn't want it to really shift here because it could very easily take out the high. So it's good, it gives it a little bit more room to breathe. Preferably I'd like it to put in a short-term high around London lows. So that's obviously a failed shift in market structure higher there, which you can see, and no shift on ES. So with a lack of shift in market structure there, you can obviously mark out the previous short-term low, as price might want to seek liquidity again if we fail to shift around this area. So that's obviously a bullish order block price. And then on ES, which you'll see here, is the bearish order block, which we look to be inversed. So ES to shift market structure, obviously above this high, to inverse the order block. And then NQ's shifting above this more recent short-term high. Hopefully this makes sense to you guys of the thought process so far today. can you explain market structure shift again? Absolutely, yeah. So with price having the previous confluences of bias, and obviously we're going to redo our bias in 5 minutes and 15 seconds. But with bias, we then look for a sweep of liquidity, which we've had, and now we're looking for a shift for price to close above a previous short-term high or bearish PD ray. So we actually look for both. So we look for a inverse of a bearish PD ray, essentially disrespecting a bearish confluence, such as a bearish order block, which then acts as a point of bullish, essentially support for price to shift market structure at the same time, which right now we've seen a failure in shift in market structure on both NQ and ES. Okay, so that's why we have said that with a failure of shift in market structure, price is likely to then re-seek a point of liquidity. So as of now, it's not seeking this order block. Essentially, it's going to likely take the short-term low and seek liquidity again, and then see if price can then shift market structure, because there wasn't enough for price to then actually shift. And we look for a body candle closure above a previous short-term high or a short-term low in a bearish shift or a bullish shift. So hopefully that makes sense. And we look for a shift on both NQ and ES, hence why I mark it out on both the assets. So obviously in the last minute we had a new 5. So the 5 is still bullish, which you can see there. 15. Is bullish. And the hourly is time frames and above that we check after the point of 10 AM. Alright, so we just took out that short-term low which price was seeking. Okay, so now we're going to look to see if price is going to have a shift higher in market structure, currently above this high. So it's previously respected the bearish order block on ES and drawn back to the previous and first low below London lows. The shift is now above this high. There's a lot of fear settled into the market at the moment in both sectors, and the overall bullish side of things is starting to diminish. Which I told people about a month and a half, 2 months ago, when everyone's jumping out of their chairs on how their crypto portfolio was skyrocketing. I sold. It's very easily predictable, even to look at other people's emotions, right? That's a very easy way to predict the market, just based off that. That's obviously not the only confluence that I look at. So as of now, I can see price is still respecting bearish PD rays, and essentially just drawing lower until we see that shift in from bearish PD rays to bullish. So as of now, essentially we haven't got anything to work off. So obviously we've passed 10 AM here, so the time frames we're going to look at is we can look at the daily, but that's not changed, the 4-hour time frame, which the 4-hour bullish gap got inversed. Okay, so that's a bearish confidence there for price to draw lower into the next 4-hour bullish gap. So essentially I'm gonna mark the entry into the 4-hour as the draw. The 4 hours bearish. So at 10 AM you can get some big changes on a higher time frame. That's why it's very important to re-look at and the hourly time frame. Wait 1 sec. 4-hour is inverse to be bullish, and the hourly is bullish. Okay, so we've already tapped that area, so it was essentially bearish, but it's bullish. And the 1 hour is also bullish, and the 15 with the shift is bearish to be the next 15 low or bullish gap, which sits at 18175. Okay, so intradays on the 15 are bearish, and then likely the 5s have been inversed. So candle closed at 2, 3, 4. Inverse this. We've taken this, so it's neutral, and it's still neutral. So the 5-minute. So our bias remains as a bullish bias, which you can see. So I've just marked 4-hour, 1 hour entrance fair value gap. It's not actually a point of sell side, it's just the entrance, the fair value gap. Alright, so we're starting to get a shift in market structure on NQ, but not on ES. So there's no shift as of now. So the shift on NQ is occurring above this high, but there's no shift on ES. And I would like to see a shift on ES as well. There's also, as of now, no order blocks for price to essentially inverse as a bearish order block. So obviously as of now we have a bullish bias, a shift on NQ and ES, a gap on both, and to be paired with the gap we don't actually have any sort of breaker or mitigation block to be paired with a gap. So as of now there's not going to be any trades to take. So yeah, no trades as of now guys, because there's no mitigation, breaker, etc. paired with the fair value gap. So for me that's an essential confluence to actually see. Why is 948 not a breaker or mitigation? $9.48 is a bullish order block, so we want to see an inverse of a bearish order block. We can't see an inverse of a bullish, because then that would be obviously a bearish confluence. So right now, as you can see, we've just put into price a bearish order block, right? So we'd have to re-look for a shift in market structure above this high and an inverse of this order block to be paired with a gap to actually say that we have a mitigation or breaker. As of now we have neither. So hopefully the process that we've taken today makes sense to you guys on what I can currently see for price and the steps we are taking. Yeah, exactly. The order block inversion needs to overlap with the fair value gap. Exactly, yeah, that's spot on. So right here we have a bullish order block, okay, which price is just traded back into this area. So for example, to see a model here, trading out of that bullish order block, I would like to see price shift above this previous short-term high, inversing this order block to be paired with a gap, which, because we took the short-term low, would be a breaker block, and ES to shift above this high, and also order block inverse there. So if it's going to shift, it will have to shift within the next minute or 2 minutes, because obviously we've only got 3 minutes and 30 seconds left of this macro. So obviously if the shift doesn't occur on this next 30 seconds of this candle, then this macro would essentially be over, and then we can wait for the second day macro. And what I'm not really liking as of now is that price has entered into more or less an accumulation period, okay? So I'd like to see now a point of manipulation for price, because we've accumulated. So manipulation is below these lower time frame equal lows, with the 4 hour and the hourly bullish gap resting below this area. It would still be valid for price to shift, obviously, but I would now like to see, with this macro being over and not possible to see a trade right now, is that I would like to see going into the second day macro of this accumulation, manipulation, and then we can distribute in the second AM. So guys, hopefully it made sense through the course of this first day of macro, and we're going to wait for the second day of macro, and I'll speak to you guys shortly, and I will unmute my mic at around 10:35 AM. Alright, yes guys, so we're looking at the second day of macro now, and we've got a few new people who have joined the Discord. I've just replied to quite a few Telegram messages of people who are previous lifetime members from over a year ago, so welcome back. And I've just done some work on the prop firm section, nothing major, just the pin message and what you guys can expect as far as guidance on what prop firm to start with, to then work on to the next prop firm, to then be making $20,000 per trade. Now this is a very realistic approach, and I want every single person inside this Discord to achieve that, and then obviously start working towards scaling after that. Okay, so you can see it inside of the prop firms channel. And we are going to monitor this second day of macro and see if there's any opportunities. Okay, so let's not make this too messy on the chart. Let's drag this over for start a macro. Let's see, equal lows got swept. We're going to get onto bias in a second as well. Let's delete that. Find a sell side. Stronger asset, SMT. That's basically all that we're looking at as of now. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at bias and see what we have as of now. So daily still bullish, okay. The 4 hours bullish. Hourly time frames bullish. And on the hourly on ES, we have taken now minor buy side, which is neutralized the hourly to be neutral, okay. 15-minute. Okay, so you can see on the 15-minute as of now, we are bearish. So price action traded out of the 15-minute bearish gap, took the low, became neutral, traded lower, and as of now, the 15 would still be neutral actually, because we've not traded back into that bearish gap as of yet. So we've got more of a neutral intraday bias here, and the 5 minutes bearish. So we got a bullish bias, slightly. Yeah, so that's an interesting, obviously, scenario inside of the end of that first day of macro there, is that we've seen that accumulation period then manipulate above a high and then distribute towards those equal lows. And now we've swept, obviously, sell side following a bullish bias. So we've just entered inside of macro. So obviously, as of now, the most recent sweep of liquidity is buy side, so we can't take any trades here, okay? And this point of buy side on ES has been taken. So we swept sell side on NQ, creating a bullish SMT on ES, right? And initially, we swept buy side, which you can see. NQ then swept sell side, so we very much are having an SMT both ways. So I'd much rather see both assets clean up a little bit, take a point of sell side, and then actually see more of a clean model to then look for longs. Yeah, so the 5 minute is neutral, as we have the 5 minute bullish gap and bearish gap as they are overlapping. So in between this period, it is obviously going to be neutral. They're not entirely overlapping, but as price action is inside of that 5 minute bullish gap, that's completely neutral, this whole bullish gap, right? What do you think about the breaker block entry? No, so basically with that and taking a long around that period there, is that all of the points that you'd look to target have already been taken on ES. So there's a bearish SMT on NQ and also a bullish SMT on ES, essentially both ways. So there's no point of TP to target on NQ as ES has already taken out all of the highs as far as minor buy side, and the New York Open high, which we have a target on for NQ, have all been taken out. Is Milo talking or on mute? As of now, I'm just waiting for an opportunity, but there's nothing. Milo, how is Thailand? It's decent, I like it, you know. I'm in an apartment by myself, not in a villa full of people, you know. And it's very easy to focus without having outside distractions of conversations that I personally can't be bothered to have. There's a lot of, you know, good conversations and a lot of like pointless conversations when you're in a villa full of people, right? So I much prefer to be by myself, and I get a lot more, you know, outsourced information from research that I do of time that I have because I'm not speaking with other people. Now, I don't know if that's what other people are like. Everyone's obviously different, but I much rather to be by myself and stay by myself. How much you pay for this villa? I mean, which villa? Because I'm not in a villa at the moment. I'm in an apartment. I've stayed in different villas and different places, so it depends which one that you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, you know, villas in general, they're not actually expensive in every location. This apartment, yeah, so I sent the landlord, I leased it for the year just so I can have it there as an apartment if I ever want to come and stay here for, say, a longer period of time. I sent the landlord for this apartment, how much was it? Like £7,000 or £8,000. I just sent him the whole year of rent, and this is just here for the year, so relatively nothing to stay over in Thailand, to be honest. And I'm actually looking to purchase a villa on the Palm, which I'm working towards, and some of the pricing on the Palm go from 10 to 15 million to purchase there, and that'll be purchased to live in. Yeah, 8K for the year. Yeah, for the apartment that I'm currently sitting in right now. Yeah, and I've got two apartments in Miami, but they are rented out, and then I've got one apartment in Dubai that I'm just started renting out there as well. So the place that I actually look to live in and purchase is over on the Palm. Is the 10:30 1 minute candle a bullish breaker? Yes. Yes, it is. So Dubai is the move for long term then? Absolutely. And the main reason for that is because of the time zone, consistent hot weather all year round, and the expansion and the growing rate of the city. So in 10 years, I see it to be, you know, a whole different city in itself. It's growing very fast, you know. So I want to be a part of it. And having a beach outside of a villa is something you don't get in Miami unless you're spending 25 million plus, which is just getting silly. It's getting pointless, right? So Dubai makes the most sense, and the time zone in Miami, waking up and trading at 9:30 in the morning, is not really a preference of mine. Now, I wake up around those times anyway, but my mind's not as sharp in the morning. I have to flood my brain full of, caffeine, nicotine, whatnot in the morning to wake myself up. So I'd much rather trade in the evenings in Dubai at 5:30 p.m. at the open. That's what I'm saying. When I was in Texas, right, waking up at say 7:30 a.m. and realistically you go to sleep at midnight. Well, I do anyway. I go to sleep at midnight regardless. So some nights I went to sleep at 1 a.m, right? Wake up 7:30 a.m, and then from the get-go you expect 100% brain power as soon as you've woken up, right? It's just not something I like to do. Is trading in the morning is not really, it's not my preference. I'd much rather make achievements through the day where I wake up, I have a good meal, I'm not feeling rushed, then I go and hit the gym. I like to carb up quite a lot before I go to the gym, so I'd have breakfast, and then I'd have 2 meals on top of that, and then I'd hit the gym, all carbed up, bit of L-citrulline, from watermelon, hit a good session. Now I only go gym once every 2-3 days, so I don't go gym like I used to. I used to go gym a lot more, and then I'm on more of a different workout plan at the moment where I take 2-3 days break and then I hit the gym again. So as of now, I've kind of been slacking on training legs, to be honest, and I need to get on to be training legs. But my workout split is training upper, say on Monday, training legs on Tuesday, and Wednesday off. And then on Thursday I train upper, and then on Friday I train legs, Saturday off, and then, have that flow. And that's how I've been training in the gym for the past, say, 10 years. Well, I've been training in the gym for about 11 years now, but I would say I've been training that split for about 6 years, to be honest. Yeah, intensity over volume, always. Now, it depends what physique you're really looking for, right? If you want like a shredded muscular physique, which is lean, then you want to go for high reps and kind of treat it as more of a rep out cardio session. But you're still training obviously the heaviest weight possible, but you're doing dumbbell press 4 sets of 12, 4 sets of 15 on failure, right? That will get you shredded and lean. But if you're trying to bulk up from being skinny, then you want to train on more of the 6 rep range, 3 or 4 sets max, compound movements. So you start on dumbbells, and then you can get over to doing your delts, and then you can come back to doing chest. And your second chest exercise, if you start with flat bench, I don't personally do bench, right? So bench is a pointless exercise. It's actually doesn't actually focus the strain so much on your chest, and there's a lot of shoulder risk of injury, right? So I do dumbbell press flat, and then I'll go over to doing delts, and then after delts I'll do something which hits the chest from a different angle. Now you can either do a non-compound like cable flies, and you can do 2 sets of 6 reps to 8 reps on cable flies of straight form, where it's at your height, front reps, and then do 2 sets from the bottom, moving it up to hit a different part of your chest. After that, then I go ahead and hit shoulders, and with shoulders I can't really do too much on my shoulders because I've got pretty dry or shoulder injury, which starts to get painful after a few different exercises. So what I just stick to is dumbbell press for shoulders, and I'll do around 6 to 8 reps on that, 4 sets, and then I train, push and pull on an upper in the same session. So then I'll get onto doing back, lats. You can also do some face pulls as well with the rope to hit upper back. And then I just hit triceps and arms. Now I also train my forearms as well, A lot of people they slack on that. So whilst I'm training biceps, and guys, you don't need to train an arm session. You don't need to train biceps for more than 2 or 3 sets. Your bicep doesn't need to be absolutely demolished. It's not what's going to make your arms bigger. Because as you're training through that workout routine, now I can actually create a channel inside of this Discord which has my workout plan in it. But that could be something I could add as well. Incorporate calisthenics. No, I've never been a fan of doing calisthenics ever. It doesn't excite me. So I just been training pretty much the same way for the past 5 years. I've only just changed from obviously a higher rep range to a lower rep range and increasing with a higher weight within the last month and a half. That's something I've actually changed, because I used to train on more of the 4 sets of 12. So I was getting a very much, so you could say, skinny, lean muscle. So extremely shredded. But now I'm trying to bulk up. So I'm on a bulk at the moment. So I'm training on that lower rep range. Yeah, that's a good message. 250 push-ups at night. Grapefruit fasting is a life changer. But whilst you're fasting, I don't recommend you do workout and train, because it can be quite dangerous. So, I've seen a lot of people, because my background is more of a competitive swimming background, and I've seen people fast in the past and train at the same time and then end up passing out and going to hospital. So obviously you got no glucose in your body, and when you're training on intensity, your body seeks glucose as its first source of energy, and if you don't have that, then you pass out, So yeah, be careful with that. You'll have no carbs in your muscles either, so you'll feel like you're training on bone. Which carbs is just obviously another form of glucose. Coffee arm raises every morning. I like that one, yeah. I'll do that one as well. Coffee arm raise, that's all you need. Yeah, so the 5 minute neutral, but it's just shifted back bullish again anyway. So we're outside of macro as of now, guys, and we're going to be waiting for the lunch macro to see if we get any other opportunities potentially inside of the lunch. That'll be the final macro for today, and we'll see what we get. So that prop firms channel inside of the Discord that I've added, you guys can see that there, and I'm going to add to it and give you the steps from what prop firm to start with, and then what prop firm to kind of continue to then grow and work with step by step to where you're making 20k per trade. And then I'm also going to add a fitness channel inside of this Discord as well, which you guys can start posting inside of there as well. Physique updates, say once a month and whatever, and I'll post obviously my workout split and everything in there as well. Now, one thing I will say obviously about fitness and everything and social media, obviously recently I see a lot of people considering taking, say, a small TRT dose and other things to excel or kind of cheat their way to getting results. Okay, now the only point is if I would recommend that you start with going to see a doctor and taking a blood test and getting your results back completely as far as a TRT standpoint. So you need to see what your natural testosterone is currently sat at according to your age, right? And if it comes back at way below average and you have symptoms where you wake up in the morning and it doesn't come up, right? Or, you know, you're feeling tired or whatever and you have all these bad symptoms, right, of a low test individual, then I suggest you hop on and take some sort of like 200 megs a week. But, you know, for the majority of us that have actually a good natural testosterone, then you don't need to take any of that. And matter of fact, taking, say, something like that is not necessarily going to give you any sort of benefit. It only benefits people who are currently suffering from naturally low testosterone. So it depends what your current natural testosterone is at. So you need to get that tested and whether you can even take it. So before you even consider it, you still need to go for heart scans. And there's 2 types of heart scans that you need to do to see if you can even do that, right? But you know, there's other routes that you can start with. Say, if you want to bulk up and not affect testosterone, then you could try MK677. That's something that I've tried actually, and it doesn't suppress testosterone. You can take MK677, which increases growth hormone inside of your body and also the hunger symptom to make you think that you're extremely hungry. Then that's also one thing that you can take, and once you stop taking it, there is no side effects at all. You get better skin, better hair. The only side effect that you can have is extreme water retention, which for me ended up leading to a headache. Now my other friend took it, Ben Keswick, and he doesn't get any sort of symptoms from taking it at all. So but yeah, the biggest source of steroid is food. You know, a lot of people, they would sit there and think, why am I not getting bigger? It's because you're not eating enough. So if you don't eat anything, you're not going to get bigger. It's as simple as that. So unless you're consuming 4,000 plus a day of calories, then don't expect your body to increase in size. Very, very simple that. Yeah, so obviously we're waiting for the lunch macro. I'll speak to you guys shortly in 15 minutes time. Okay, so as of now, looking at price, obviously price is currently shifting pretty much fully to a bullish bias still. And we've taken buy side on ES. We're having a shift lower in market structure, obviously on NQ and ES as of now. However, our bias is bullish. So there's currently no trades for us to take. Now, as much as taking shorts would be the preferred play, our bias doesn't follow with being bearish. So we can't take, obviously, any trades there. With that displacement lower, ES just took a point of minus sell side. So essentially meeting one of the objectives as well. I'll keep you guys posted as we work through this macro. So in 5 minutes we get inside of the lunch macro. I'll keep you guys posted if there is anything of interest for us to take. So following a bullish bias as it currently stands, we want to see a sweep of sell side, opportunity for long, so then we can target one of these points of minor buy side. Right, here we go. So I wanted to know Milo's opinion about the trade that my friend took in this macro. So as we discussed, this trade had no mitigation or breaker block paired with a gap. So that's the reason why we didn't take that. So if you guys remember inside of that macro and why we didn't take that trade, hopefully that makes sense. It's not a valid trade to take. And then as far as this trade, this was the trade that I would have liked to take. However, I didn't take it because we've already met the objective, which I was looking to target the New York Open high. ES had already taken it. I was looking to target minor buy side. ES already took it. So as far as objectives for this trade, it had already been taken by ES. And as far as this trade, there's no mitigation or breaker block paired with the fair value gap at point of entry. So all you have here is a sweep of liquidity, a bias, and a fair value gap and a shift. So you're missing some vital points to that trade, which is missing, which makes it very low probability. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, some days, you know, it does become quite boring, and sometimes there'll be points where we don't take a trade. But that's exactly how it goes. And I take on average around 1 to 2 trades per week. Some weeks different to others. Does Keswick trade different than you with respect to the concepts? Yes. So he trades different. He trades with less confluences to enter a trade. Essentially, his model is a sweep of liquidity, a shift in market structure, and a gap on NQ. And if there's no gap on ES, he will obviously acknowledge that, but that will likely stop him from taking a trade. But when it comes to bias, he doesn't do the bias and identify bias the same as what I do. And also when it comes to the confluences into entering a trade, it's not specifically built off a checklist, it's more or less built off the 2022 model as being standard. That's just my point of view, and that's how he trades and that's how I trade. Now, the way that you trade is entirely down to you as yourself as a trader. Now, I've been backtesting and trading ICT profitably for 3 years. I've taken thousands of live trades. I've got data built up over the last 3 years, for me to reflect on losses and wins to see if there's any consistent patterns that I can see on why majority of losing trades have ended up being losing trades. And that's why I've simplified the model down to specific points that I say is a requirement, which other people won't say it's a requirement, because they either have not had the experience or time to actually reflect on past trades, when I've actually sat there and made things a requirement for a better future result and probability based. So, you know, hopefully that clears things up, makes sense. But obviously the trade taken yesterday was not meant to be taken, and that was just a very, very rare ICT fanatic mistake there outside of macro. So obviously I still upload that on social media to show other people that, you know, mistakes do happen, and it's all about ensuring that, you know, it doesn't happen again. But as far as, you know, last week and this week combined with the group being open, we're currently sat up 1.1R. Now it's nothing major, right? But so far this month, I'm currently sat up 5.2R. So I was up 6.2. I was actually up 3 out of 3 winning trades. But now currently up 5.2R on the month. Over 20R over the last 3 months. No, I'm not saying that I'm better than him. There's no better trader than other people, right? Let's not talk on those lines. I'm not going to say that I'm better than anyone, right? I'm just here to do the best job that I can do myself, and I don't here to speak about other people. You asked for my opinion. You said, do we trade the same? I gave you the line of that we don't trade the same. And I'm not here to speak about other people, but you asked the question, and I'm not saying or claiming that I'm better than anyone else. I'm just saying the way that I trade is different. Alright, so we just swept a point of buy side on NQ, which you can see there, and that's a bearish SMT on ES. The daily as of now is still leaning towards being bullish. The 4 hours bearish. The hourly is almost about to shift bearish. So the hourly shifts bearish at 317 and 4 points. Upon taking minor buy side on NQ, the hourly would shift bearish. The 15 minute, so the hourly's just shifted bearish. As far as the 15 minute, you can see that we was bullish, and now we're neutral. Okay, so we trade out of the bullish gap, we took the high but neutralized it, and there's no bearish gaps until we get to 33150. The 15 remains neutral. Currently bias is leaning neutral, but depends on the 5. So the 5 was bullish, took the high, it's been neutralized, and we're trading out of a 5 minute bearish fair value gap to the left, which you can see has not been inversed. So, or it has been inversed. Okay. Yeah, so the 5 minute is neutral, right? So our bias is bearish. So right now we're looking for a shift lower in market structure with a bearish SMT on ES, and we're looking for a model for shorts to then target discount. And obviously there's still a bearish SMT on NQ higher time frame at Asia highs, and we've got bearish SMT on ES at minor buy side. Yes, that is correct. So the 5 minute is actually bearish, that's correct. That's why it's insightful to use this. Which is at that 5 minute bearish gap, yeah. Either way, we've got a bearish bias. Alright, so this is looking clean, which you can see here, where we have a bearish bias, a sweep of buy side. We've just put in a bullish order block, so I'd like to see a shift below that previous low, and if we get that, then we can look for shorts. So when it comes to bias and you have a neutral result, neutral means nothing, right? So it means that your bias stands as the results that you have, either bullish or bearish, and neutral gets cancelled. You can essentially delete it, but I still leave it there in case, obviously, the 5 and 15's constantly changing, and the 15 goes bearish, remember, around 330, 331. What level of TradingView subscription do you use? Well, I mean, as of now, obviously, in regards to the price action, we are looking for a shift lower in market structure. We have a sweeper buy side, a bearish bias, and we're looking for a shift lower. So in regards to that question, I've got a 1-year plan, I believe, with TradingView on a premium or pro subscription. I can't really remember off the top of my head. With a CME add-on, so I have live data. I've also got, I pay for a CME add-on package for my live TraderVate account as well. And that's relatively it. I believe that's it. I also have paid for lifetime access on TraderVate in regards to broker fees per contract. Now it does add up over a long period of time, and I paid something in the $1,000 range, I believe, for that. That was on the live TraderVate account. There's different, obviously you can accept the basic fee per mini or micro, or you can pay for lower fees and have that kind of, you can pay on a monthly subscription, you can pay it on a yearly or lifetime. I mean, I bought the lifetime as far as the paying less fees. So yeah, it's already saved me, and it's not really made much of a difference. We're talking like a few $1,000s, but why wouldn't you, you know? Yeah, so either price shifts market structure within the next, 3 to 4 minutes, or we don't take any trades today. And, that's how it is. So far this week, there actually has been no trades valid to take. So we looked at price action yesterday, on Monday, and there wasn't any trades to take, unfortunately, apart from the one outside of macro. As far as valid trades, there's been nothing this week so far to take. So we are experiencing, obviously, 2 days of essentially no trades. Any plans for this evening? No, not really. I've got a meal that I'm gonna eat at this restaurant. They provide like a nice, fillet steak, and then that's it, gonna head to sleep. Goes over in, obviously, Thailand. It's 11:10 p.m. right now, so I'll go finish a steak, and then come back, sleep, wake up, and then start the day from there for tomorrow. Nothing crazy, you know. I don't know why people portray on social media that they live such a crazy lifestyle, which at some points, yes, I do things that my older self wouldn't have done because I couldn't afford it, right? So if you spoke to me 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't be driving around in a Rolls Royce Cullinan or taking a jet ski out midday, things like that. But that doesn't happen 24/7. I'm not on a jet ski smoking cigars 24/7, you know. So it's nothing, too crazy, to be honest. Well, a shift below this low would absolutely be perfect if we was to see it. What does a day in my life look like before I get on the charts? Well, I mean, whilst we're monitoring for displacement lower, I would start my day, okay, with a breakfast, and I pretty much always go to the same cafe. So I have an Americano for breakfast, um, black Americano with avocado. I'd have 5 eggs, scrambled eggs with it, bit of toast. That would start the day off, and a watermelon as well. Watermelon's essential, so I'll citrulline in the morning. Just trying to build the carbs up, protein in the morning, and then after that, I'd have a straight chicken and rice, and after that, I'd then usually hit pasta. So I like to carb up quite a lot in the morning, and then midday, if it was a day to hit the gym, then I would hit the gym usually around 6 p.m. Thailand time. So I hit the gym, and then I finish gym around 7:30, 7:15. So my session lasts only for about hour 15, and then from that point, I'd head over to the sauna, and then stay in the sauna for 2 sessions. First one for 15 minutes, and it's usually it's quite a hot sauna. It's about 100 degrees or 95 degrees. Stay in there 15 minutes, and it's it's not really relaxing being in the sauna. I like to stay in there until, when you come out, and it almost feels like you're high. So, day to day kind of just consists of normal things, really. Nothing too crazy. I mean, it depends on the location and where I'm at. Um, but yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts and read a lot of different books. I'm always about expanding knowledge. I don't want to complete a day and not know something that I didn't know the day before. I want to make sure that knowledge is always expanding, whether that's in real estate, crypto. As far as trading Nasdaq futures, there's nothing actually more that I can learn. But there's obviously many other sectors that I'm always learning about. What time do you plan to stay in Thailand? Well, I'm always obviously going to keep going back and forth between different countries. I'm not going to stay somewhere for like a year straight and not leave. But yeah, I do plan to actually stay in Pattaya for quite a bit of time, as it's close to Dubai and also close to, say, Abu Dhabi, and I want to visit Japan, potentially Australia as well, China, yeah, a few different places such as that. As I said, purchased the place on the Palm in Dubai. When am I coming back to Miami? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe in like 6 to 8 months. But the thing is, with Miami, I see it as kind of pointless, because when I was in Miami, the time zone doesn't make sense for me. And whilst I'm there, for example, let's say I do 200k in payouts that month. Whilst I'm in Miami, I would spend, say, 70 or 80k a month of just living in Miami. So I'm spending almost 30k a month just on food, because I'm eating out every single meal of the day, and some meals going up to being $600-700 for an STK. For what? So for me, it doesn't really make sense of actually living in Miami. I profit from Miami from rent, but I'm not essentially looking to live there. To be honest, I don't really see the actual benefit of me living there. I don't really like the place either. Of everyone there seems they're trying to take from each other, and there's less connections than people think actually there is in Miami. So I've never actually met anyone in Miami and think, wow, what a connection. Never. I've never actually profited from an actual dollar amount aspect from meeting anyone in Miami, and I've met a lot of people there. So I don't really see the point of me being there. I'd much rather go somewhere else, like Dubai, which has a way better time zone, so it puts me in a better mood when I'm actually trading and I have a clearer mind. There's no risk of, obviously Miami's safe, but there's actually no risk of getting, robbed or guns or whatever in Dubai. You got consistent weather, so in July time in Miami you don't get hit by a fucking palm tree that falls down, because of the hurricanes. It does get extremely hot in Dubai, but I don't mind it. I've been in Dubai when it's the hottest of the hottest, and I love it. So, for example, let's say I was to have a break-even month trading, and I was in Miami, I'd then be down 70k on the month. So, when I'm in places like Dubai, I'll be spending around 30 or 40k a month, I'd say, and I'm living better. So I'm spending half the amount, and I'm living, way better. Obviously, this macro's over now, guys, and there's been no trades for us to take today. Don't sit there and think coulda, shoulda, woulda, because there actually wasn't any trades that we could have taken, and we've been actively monitoring price in each one of the macros, and we made the correct decision to take no trades today. Now, obviously, tomorrow, every day this week's a tradable day, so we've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, consisting of another 9 macros to monitor until the end of this week, and we'll see what we get. So Dubai is actually cheaper than Miami, even though it's the wealthiest place. Well, the wealthiest place would be Abu Dhabi, in my opinion. But yes, Abu Dhabi is not really a place that I would choose to live. It's very much a lot more down on the religious side of things, and a lot more strict. But yeah, Dubai is cheaper than Miami, I would say, yeah. As far as living in Dubai, I think, the restaurants, the food choices, there's a lot of restaurants opening 24/7. Dubai's becoming a lot more relaxed, so they're not like they were 10 years ago. How many properties do you already own? So I own 3. I own 3 places, and I'm renting the one that I'm currently in. When are you and Aaron coming back to New York? He told me likely to come in January. I probably won't come back to New York for quite a while, to be honest. I'm not really the biggest fan of New York. That's just my opinion, to be honest. It's not really my type of place. Do you live alone or with your friends? I live alone. What are you investing in at the moment as far as stocks and crypto? So yeah, everything to do with what I'm buying and also investing in is all inside of this Discord, and I don't invest in anything apart from real estate and crypto. So I've included all of my knowledge inside of the channels at the bottom. As far as crypto, real estate, 0% tax is still one channel to be worked on to guide you guys for that. And then also the health side of things on supplements that you should take is at the bottom channel. So I'm currently in a Bitcoin short, and the whole position, and as far as crypto, and when I invest to buy crypto on a long-term basis, then that's got all decisions based on the Discord that you guys get access to. I would love if you made one for tax. There is one for tax, so it just needs to be added. So I'd recommend everyone does take a look at all the channels inside of this Discord, so you get all the benefit from it. But yeah, so far, obviously no trades today, guys. I will speak to you tomorrow for the AM session at 9:20 AM. Have a great rest of your day.